You're listening to Parts and Charts. I'm Chelsea Owens, a therapist certified in internal family systems, and my co-host, KP Kajabowski, is an astrologer. We're testing the theory that IFS and astrology are mapping the same inner territory. Every episode, we put that to the test. Glad you're here.
All right, so we decided to record what we don't usually record, which is we're going to pull cards to help us focus our intentions for our guest episode with Carla Contreras. We'll introduce you fully, but you're an incredible person. I'm so excited to talk to you about moon and intuition and discernment, like is what you just mentioned before we started recording. And Chelsea is pulling a tarot card for each of us right now, so we'll let
I'm
Chelsea share.
using the Cacio Pepe deck. It's one of my favorite new decks. So it's all food, which is perfect for our guest, Chef Carla. Okay, first card, chocolate bar.
You can't make it up.
We can't even make this stuff up, you guys. So that one is the Nine of Cups. So
This is for Carla?
yeah.
Oh, perfect.
So some of the like keywords for this one is solo driving, crepes, This Train by Bunny Wailer, Dreams by Fleetwood Mac.
My
and it's the
favorite
Nine of
song.
Cups. Really?
Wow.
I play that on repeat when I edit photos.
Oh my God.
I cannot. That is.
Wow. And it corresponds to Jupiter and Pisces as well.
Well, I have a stellium in Pisces.
Yeah.
Holy cannoli. Okay. There's more to read, but we can do that later.
Oh my gosh.
Next
You
one
have to
is
send it to me.
pizza. 66 pizza. We all love it. That one's the Three of Pentacles. Pizza is magic. And so that one is about heart math for KP. Harmonizing Brilliance of Crosby, Stills, and Nash and Young. Yeah. Discipline by Bobby McFerrin. Three of Pentacles, Mars, and Capricorn.
Oh.
Okay. I love the Three of Pentacles. It feels like
Do
that's
you?
us. We're all working.
Yeah, it's kind of the group card here. Yeah. And I got dumpling. That's a cutie.
Oh.
Gosh, what is this one? With a chariot.
Mm.
So some of the keywords are 12th grade, hot stuff, big deal, loud anthems, dazed and confused, Dylan McKay's outgoing answering machine message, cracked crab, We Are the Champions by Queen, and Cancer, of course, the zodiac sign, and number 7.
I love that.
I love
Is that maybe saying to bring out more of your Cancer energy?
I guess so. Don't I always? Yeah, I love that. Dylan McKay's outgoing. I don't even know what that is.
Yeah.
Well, I'll have to look it up. I'm sure it's good. Well,
Feels good to me.
yeah. So
So I
Three of
think
Pentacles, Chariot, and Nine of Cups. Okay.
Yeah. I think Chelsea's our leader this episode. She's the chariot.
Oh, goodness.
Ooh,
Okay.
yeah, I love it. Driving force.
Yes.
Okay. And what do we think about Nine of Cups?
I love the cups in general because for me, the cups are abundance.
Mm-hmm.
They're abundance. And I feel like this also ties into my training as an Incan shamanic healer for the last 3 years of learning with my teacher from Chinchero, Peru. His name is Puma. And the Incan philosophy is really about Aini. Nothing goes one way. And so that energetic exchange, but also within that energetic exchange, there is extra abundance and generosity towards yourself.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. That feels like maybe perfect for this time for you too, as you were just describing like your birthday yesterday and what you're moving through, trying some new things out. And it's just this like beautiful portal, but you're pouring back into yourself, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Chocolate. Yeah.
Chocolate, just bathing in chocolate, cacao.
I had a cup, like I am in a co-working space in New York City. I'm surrounded by massive buildings right now. And what I brought in my bag was my cacao. And one of the founders of this co-working space was like, "What is that?" And I was like, "It's cacao. Would you like some? It's amazing." And she's like, "Maybe another time, maybe you can lead a circle here."
Oh, cool.
Very cool.
Yeah.
But I feel like cacao has been part of my path too. And it also is linked to my birthday because the first time I drank it was I want to say that it was 4 or 5 years ago at this point, probably
Mm,
5. And
mm,
I drink it pretty much every single day as a way
mm.
to connect with myself, as a way to ground, as part of my creative practice. And I didn't know this because I recently had someone on my podcast who talked about the runner's high chemical. I didn't know this in the brain. The
Yeah.
cacao can stimulate that.
Ooh.
So it can
Whoa.
stimulate. Yeah, and I don't know. I feel like it's somehow I can't remember the exact chemical. She was a scientist at Yale. I want to say Yale or Stanford. No, Stanford. I had another scientist in creativity from Yale. But this person, she talked about this chemical and like how it's almost like the runner high when you're drinking cacao. And for me, yes, it's heart opening, but for me, it's also opening that crown.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. I had no idea. That's
Yeah.
amazing.
I read yesterday, I forgot where it was, but the heart is the seat of the mind. Like what the condition of the heart supports the ability of for the mind to open.
Yeah.
Mm,
Yeah, that's cacao.
Yeah. It
mm.
All right.
literally.
Before we go further, do you want to give us like the
Oh, yeah.
need to know Carla's story before we
Yeah.
start talking about everything we want to talk about?
Well, first,
Yeah.
thank you for having me and whoever is connected in your community that's watching this right now. I'm Carla Contreras, also known as Chef Carla across all the platforms. I am a trained chef. I was a food stylist for 13 years. And what KP mentioned is that I dropped a podcast, a very potent podcast yesterday about really seeding into the identity of content strategy. Now, this is something that I have always done as a food stylist. I'm like, what's your Instagram bio? Do you
Mhm.
think that you want to create a podcast? It's 2021. Do you want to start a Substack? Like, I mean, these are things. And at the same time, I feel like my gift is this strategy. I'm a projector in human design. I'm a four
Mhm.
six, but it also is the intuition. So it's the strategy and the intuition and combining those two things together, and that really encompasses not only my work, but how I live.
Mhm.
Yeah. That's perfect.
Thank you.
Okay. The reason I really want to do on our podcast, which is so much to do with our inner experience of parts, IFS, internal family systems, and connecting it to astrology as like a system of wisdom for discernment and getting to know ourselves and growing, right? You shared with your community on Substack, the private community, the special people, a guide to how to work with the moon in
Yep.
business planning, in living, in a way to help you make decisions about what you're going to do that day, understanding that your experience changes when the moon is in a different sign. And the moon changes signs every 2-ish days.
Yep.
So there may be 2 days of every month where you're like, I cannot have meetings. And there may be 2 days of every month where you're like, I must have meetings. I need to socialize. So
Mm.
I
Yep.
kind of want you to like share a little bit about where that comes from, your experience with that, and why you needed to show it to your community.
Mm.
So this is literally the way that I move through my business and my life. I started this around the beginning of 2020, where I
Mm.
was noticing there's an app. It's called Dara. I don't know if you
Mm.
know it. It's the best 99 cents. Make no money from this. But I started to notice that when the moon was in my sun sign, Aries, it was go time. Let's
Wow.
party. Let's come to co-working. Let's go to New York City. Pisces, same thing. I have a stellium. It was like, let's create, let's dream, let's make the podcasts. And then I also noticed Gemini, and so much so, I'm a Gemini rising, so much so that our mutual friend Jenna, who I hope has she been on this podcast? I'm not sure, but
Not yet.
not yet.
Yeah.
But she will come on.
Mhm.
Jenna will say she'll be texting with me, and she's like, "Carla, is it a Gemini moon today?" Like she knows the energy, because for me, it's almost like explosive. Now, mind you, and I talk about this in my guide, and maybe I make this public for your community, that I'm not taking account because there will be sometimes when there's like a square or there's some sort of like other part of the astrological weather where I'm like, wow, this Aries moon, wah, wah. No. But I also noticed some other things. Like, example, my Chiron is in Taurus. I can, it's almost like I'm like, in Spanish, they say it's a caballo and a burro. So essentially, like the horse is running, 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 running. But the burro, like the mule, the donkey has to sit down and rest. The donkey is so freaking smart. The donkey is like, okay, I've climbed up this mountain and we need to take a break. So I
Yeah.
have these days, and you could probably hear it. It's like Pisces and Aries, and we have Taurus in between. And oh, it's go time again. But then you catch me on a Leo day. This is a day I do not, and to the best of my ability, because we live in this 3D world, I do not schedule a podcast. I do not schedule anything important. If I can, if I have an interview or a client or something, and there's a Leo moon, I know, because this is my Black Moon Lilith. This is going to be tension for me. And so this really became my own personal map, and not saying that this was a system for other people of like, Aries is going to be an amazing day for you, because I don't know your chart. But for me, I noticed that my sun sign, my rising sign, my north example, I have a north node in Virgo. It's also like, it's the reason that my house is clean, I swear. And I happen to have a partner who is a Virgo sun. And without even mentioning it, we can know it's a Virgo day because he will start and I will start, and it will be organizing and cleaning. And we need to do all of the things. So this isn't just a system for me. It's also a system that I use. I have 2 kids too. And I also know their signs of like, okay, well, my daughter has a Gemini moon too. My husband has a Gemini moon. Like, where do these things come into play? And also, where do we need time for rest?
Yeah.
Was there a moment when you realized all this stuff, or did it feel like you just kind of started tracking it and it was kind of a gradual unfolding? Or was there a moment when you were like, oh, like I need to pay attention, especially to the moon? Or, yeah, what was that like for you to kind of come into this insight?
Well, there was a draft for about 3 years for this moon guide.
Yeah.
Literally, and actually, Jenna designed it. It sat there for a full year where it was fully designed. And so I had this information and I was living this information, but it felt like, especially at the time, because that's when I was really food styling, working with huge, massive brands to create food videos with my hands. And it felt like it wasn't connected to my work. Now that I have Nourishing Creativity and I have the podcast, like I feel like it makes sense to be part of my world. And it's taken me a long time. Like, I mean, that podcast dropped yesterday, that moon guide. I dropped it like maybe a year ago, but it's taken me a long time. And I feel like I get to update this moon guide because that was a 2025 moon guide. Um, but really, I feel like with the moon guide, it could be something that's an evergreen, leaning into, do you feel a different way on days that are your sun sign, days that are your rising sign, days that are your moon? Like, I know I have a Scorpio moon. Like, we're going to go into the bottom of the ocean that day and we're going to feel all the feels, and it might get really dark, and that's okay. Like, I don't even have to look. Most of the time, I don't have to look at the calendar. I can literally feel the energy in my body.
Yeah. I am curious if you know where the moon is right now, because I know there's a new moon in Aries soon, but I don't know if it's in Aries yet.
Well, this was interesting. I was feeling it yesterday and I was like, are we in Pisces? Because I was deep into I was deep in, and I can look right now, but I also wanted to not look because I was like, yesterday we were in Pisces.
Yeah.
I didn't need to look.
Yeah.
I didn't need to, and we just moved We
Mm.
just moved into Aries,
Yeah.
and I'm on the East
What?
Coast, so we just
Yeah.
moved into Aries, but I didn't need to, like, I could feel
Mhm.
myself in that deep creation process, and that's Pisces. Like,
Really?
I know this, it's almost like this, like, deep, and I look up to the sky. It's like almost this deep relationship that I've developed with myself, and so much so that other people in my life will notice it's this. Like, oh, it's a Virgo. I can tell it's a Virgo moon because you are doing massive digital cleaning, house cleaning, X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I think you're the perfect person to talk about this because I have a mission in this lifetime to make people with debilitated placements like as good examples. So you have a debilitated moon or you have a moon in fall
Oh,
and I have
really?
a sun in fall and I'm like
Mhm.
I'm showing myself and usually Libra suns don't do that. And Scorpio moons are told to be not in tune with their emotions or not in touch so closely
Really?
with what they need emotionally. And look at you. You're so in tune because I think you had to be to
Yeah.
Yeah.
access your moon energy.
Yeah.
It's really taken me, I want to say, like, if I bring myself back into the process, it was very easy. I want to say this, yeah, strategically. It was very easy to like be Aries, Pisces, yes. Oh, like it was very easy to do these quote unquote easier placements.
Yes.
Was it easier to identify and then also to boo-hoo about my Taurus days or my Leo season? Like, I need to, and let's just manifest this together. Leo season, I need to be like in the forest or a beach or
Uh-huh.
somewhere
Oh, yeah?
where like the entire season is very just challenging on my being. And there was,
Really?
yes. And then not a scene, and this is where, like, predictive astrology can get, I really like, there are times when I completely get rid of the apps, get rid
Oh,
of
yeah.
reading anything, get rid of listening to anything, because I'm like, I get to have my own relationship with my birth chart, with the
Mm.
astrological weather,
Mm.
and I don't need the doom and gloom that is predictive astrology.
Yeah. Amen.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
it takes time though to trust yourself over the data.
Yes, and there's
And
also so many nuances, like you do, so many nuances in the chart that, yes, it might be like, example, someone warned me, they're like, the moon is void from this time to this time. And I'm like, yeah, we have known that for eons, yes. And also, I love when the moon is void. I can feel when like, I could feel that energy shift into Aries because I'm so in tune to it that I can feel it. And also, I know when the moon is void, that's also time for me to go in.
yeah. So for people
Mm.
who don't know moon
Can
and
we
void,
talk about that?
yeah.
Yeah,
Do you want to
Yeah.
yeah.
describe what's happening?
So, example, we talked about earlier, it's about 2.5 days. And then as the moon is shifting to the other side, the moon goes void. And this is
Mhm.
a natural and completely normal thing. This is not something to be afraid of. And for me, I love this because I also feel like, and maybe this is just me and the way that I'm leaning into, is that I, in the past, have really not honored transitions.
Mm.
And the moon being void is honoring a transition.
Yeah, that's real. And what technically is happening is that the moon goes through each sign,
Yep.
and there's a point where the moon stops making a significant aspect to another planet. So it's not in communication or doing like translation work for another
Yep.
planet. And then that could be a whole 2.5 days, or it could be 20
Yep.
minutes. And there's another moon, void of course moon that is like the ancient kind, which can be much longer, depending on what's happening in the sky, where the moon is making zero aspects to any planet for days. Like historically, that means like commerce halts, or like the Pope
Oh.
doesn't speak for 10 days, or like it's like that kind of energy. And last year we had so many voided course moons. I don't know how many it was, but it was like almost all of spring last year. We don't
Wow.
have as many this year, but then we have the modern version of voided course moon every time the moon
Every
changes.
time. And then we have that bigger one.
Yeah. So it's,
Yeah.
yeah,
Hmm.
I usually like if I notice it's happening, it's email day. Like, okay, just wrapping up things. I'm not going to start anything.
Ah.
And it's good for well, all of us are like highly initiating signs. We have a Cancer sun, a Libra sun, and an Aries sun here. So we like to like start things, do things, get things done. And Void of Course Moon, like you're saying, is like a good moment to honor. Like, no, like you can just float,
Mm.
you can just
Come
drift.
back
Mm.
in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
And I feel like that is the thing that would I have told you that, and maybe this is why the guide has this sat for so long, because my relationship was not there. My relationship was really like, oh my goodness, there's an Aries moon. Let's freaking go.
Yeah.
It wasn't, I would not have, if we had this podcast a year or 2 years or 3 years ago, I would have never talked about honoring the transitions
Yeah.
or pausing in any way, shape, or form. I'd be like, that's annoying. I don't like Taurus. I'm an Aries sun. Like, let's get moving.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I'm
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 just
also
feeling it.
curious. I'm
Go ahead.
also curious as I'm thinking more about tracking my own moon, in my moon cycle. Like, I'm curious, like how the body, like in bleeding and like the menstrual cycle also plays into all of it because I feel so so at the whim of my body and what it like hormonally is doing. Right now I'm kind of in luteal phase. Like it just feels like I have no control over it sometimes, like what comes up in those phases. And I'm like, as I'm like thinking about tracking my moon and like where it's at in certain points, I'm like, I wonder how that'll, I don't know, overlap or even conflict with like what my physical body's going through at the moment, or if it'll sync up. If I'm tracking it more, like I don't know. And I wonder if you have any thoughts about that or have any experiences in that way.
Well, I am deep in perimenopause. And what's interesting, and this actually happened way before because I started tracking the moon and and I have so many beautiful womb healers and pelvic floor PTs and people that do all sorts of deep work in the sacral space.
Yeah.
And they'll ask me, like, what part of your cycle? And I'm like, I'll tell you it's an Aries moon because this is for me. And I feel like this also gives people permission if they have longer cycles and or if they're not bleeding, or my friends, multiple friends that have had hysterectomies or other circumstances. For me, I'm tuning into the planet, which just happens to tune into my energy as a human. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if that answers your question, but for me personally, I'm like, I'm leaning into that astrological moon weather and how that resonates with me. And could that sync up with a cycle? Maybe. But
Yeah.
for me, really, and I don't know, KP, you know my chart. Like, I wonder because I have so much Pisces, is that
Yeah.
I'm like deeply in tune. Like, I'm almost pulled like with the waves.
Yeah. Yeah, it's that like intuitive living is more your vibe anyway, where like maybe with
Mhm.
someone more earth or more fire
Mhm.
wouldn't be as in tune with those kind of cycles. I don't know. I'm like right now I'm like doing some math in my head. Like maybe this relates to the house in your chart that is ruled by Cancer, the moon sign. Like maybe there's something to that, but I don't know if that's true. There's something to think about though, like wherever your Cancer house is and wherever your Leo house is usually where like the themes of our eclipses throughout our lifetime is one of the theories. And then when there's a major lunation, your Cancer house is always pulled in. I don't know, something to think about. I
Yeah.
like that astrology is not a science, like an exact science. It's a contemplative science.
Mm.
And it really is, you're checking with your body and your intuition, like, okay, if this works, I'm going to stick with it. If it doesn't work, something else is happening. you know?
Yeah, I feel that deeply. And that's also the relationship with my body. And this was not happening 2, 3 years ago. I'm deeply checking in with myself.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And that's the basis of all of this. Like everything that the three of us do in our lives, like if the more in touch we are with our body's messages
Mhm.
and like in conversation with our body, the better we can be of service in all of our mediums, like
Mhm.
making food, showing food,
Mhm.
being a mystic therapist,
Mhm.
poetry, whatever is like I think you can tell when that person's more in tune with their body from how they're creating something.
Mhm.
And other
Mhm.
people will feel that energy through, and I just talked about this before I got in this call. In this co-working space, we had a big gathering of people, and we gathered with a photographer, and she showed us images. Actually had printed images. And what we had to do as an exercise was to tell the story of the person that was in the image.
Oh,
And this is
Mm.
interesting, and I want to bring it into this conversation because for people that are not tuned into energetics,
Mhm.
it's so fascinating for me is that every single person, regardless of them and identifying woo or not, knew the energetics that was in that photograph.
yeah.
They knew that. So regardless of us naming it astrology, cycle seeking, syncing, like
Mhm.
any of these different like modalities, I feel like for us it's not necessarily like labeling it X, Y, and Z, but really we know that energy regardless if we identify it or not.
Mhm. Mhm.
That's so real. I'm thinking of Chelsea's art therapy practices too.
Mhm. Mhm. The collective unconscious.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
letting it arise and speak and trusting that. Yeah.
Mhm.
And also makes me think of like when people go on a date to the mall and they're like, let's just like make up these stories with people walking by. It's like, okay, you're just practicing magic while you're doing that. Like you're just
Right?
going with intuition. Yeah. Like you're probably saying what that person's experience is. Even if
Yeah.
it feels silly, like intuition is. Carla, I kind of want to ask you about your strategist brain, your projector self, and how you might advise someone who's asking about this moon calibration technique. Like, how would you lead them through getting to know it?
Mm.
If I was thinking about this through, and let's just say that this is through the lens of content, because that is the language. So I also build Substack publications. I've built 13 rising Substack publication. Like this is just, really what it is, and if people don't know what that means, it's that their Substack publication is profitable. And what I really lean into with creation, and you probably heard this, like I'm leaning into those Aries days. I'm leaning into those Pisces days. I'm leaning into those Gemini days because I know that those certain days during the month, my energy is literally on fire. Like my
Mm.
energy is attuned to creating content, creating the message, being the messenger. And yesterday, and we didn't even have to look, it was a Pisces moon.
Mm.
And I allowed myself on my birthday to be in communion with myself, which just happened to be in Pisces for creation. And so this is my invitation in terms of strategy is to really tune into if I was telling someone to follow the moon and to see where it landed, what is your sun sign? What is your rising sign? What is your moon sign? Where are these other placements? And these are like basic placements, never mind squares and other astrological weather, but really feeling into, okay, I noticed this month's Aries moon, I felt this. This month's, and this is what I did in the beginning. In the beginning, I actually wrote it down. I was like, have lots of energy. Oh my goodness, Gemini moon, lots of energy. And then thinking about, okay,
Mm.
and maybe it is getting an app with like Dara that's literally 99 cents and figuring out, okay, today is X, Y, and Z moon, or seeing the month ahead of like, oh, I noticed the Gemini moon is on this date. Well, guess what? I booked this podcast because it was an Aries moon.
I love that.
Like, there's no coincidences here because I knew that I was going to be in that energy. So, and also knowing in the 3D world that this might not all sync up, and knowing, okay, if this was scheduled, example, on a Leo moon, and this was the only day that you two could record, knowing that number one, I would not be in New York City, I'd be home in Jersey. Number two, my hair probably wouldn't be, it might be done, might not be done. I might have pajamas on the bottom and not jeans and being dressed up. Like, I have a blazer on today and all this other stuff. I have makeup on. It's a very different vibe. But also knowing that Leo moon, maybe I would need to do a hypnosis rest at the end of the day before I go to sleep, or X, Y, and Z. So I know by tuning into this energy, and this is what I'm saying to other people and then giving them the invitation is to tune in. Okay, where do you energetically feel like you have the energy to do like 12 things in a day?
Yeah.
And maybe you don't. Like, also, like, it's just information. It's not good or bad. And I feel like this is also the thing that I'm learning about predictive astrology, and sometimes why I really disconnect, because I want to have my own relationship with it. And
Yeah.
that's really, I think, the biggest thing. Like, if we were to wrap this whole thing up, is understand, what is your relationship with, example, the Aries moon? What is your relationship with a Gemini moon? What is your relationship when the moon is void of course?
Yeah. And the moon is the best thing to do it with because it changes so often. Like every single month, you will feel all of the signs.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's the most personal planet. It's the planet that moves the water in our body. Like, yeah, it's the best one to start with and end with, for sure, is my opinion. It is making me think though, like the sun seasons, I feel deeply. Sagittarius season, which is holiday season, I am so out of it. And that's my 12th house. I just have a hard time like paying attention to anything. I'm just like floating. Yeah. And Leo season's hard for me because it's my 8th house. But now I am going to dedicate to taking notes every single day and hoping that my ovulatory period matches up with the days that I think will be more productive. So you cannot design that.
I'm curious. I'm curious of how it lands for you. And also knowing, example, for me, same. Sag is a hard season.
Yeah.
Sag is a hard season. And I know that I'm not overscheduling. I am not over. For me, we celebrate Christmas with my kids. I'm not over decorating. I'm not going to make 12 cookies. There's none of that. It's bare bones, the basics, and connection with my family.
Yeah.
But it's also deeply understanding my relationship with that sign and what I need during that time.
Yeah.
That's really interesting because as a Cancer sun, I'm kind of meh about Pisces season and Scorpio season. So the other waters, like this past Pisces season, I was just like, get it fucking over with. Like, I need Aries energy. Like, I need some fire. I was going crazy. It was like too slow, too watery, too whatever. So yeah, I feel that I get that for you, and like being an Aries sun and not vibing with the other fires. Yeah.
This is juicy to think about. Like, do I hate Aquarius season? Maybe. It's February. February sucks in Wisconsin. Yeah. What else is coming to mind about this topic? Like, is there anything that you feel is a caution maybe about this practice?
For me, I don't feel like there's a caution. I feel like the only thing, and I've said this several times, and I hope that everyone like underlines and circles and highlights, is that there's not good or bad with this.
Yeah.
And that's where I feel like I had a stickier relationship. Like, I would text my astrology friends and I'm like, it's a Taurus moon. And I'd give you like a meme of me like I don't do that anymore. And I feel like this is maybe my discernment, like as I turn 47 this year, knowing, okay, this is a gift and I get to rest. This is not labeled quote unquote good or bad.
Yeah.
Mm.
That is so important. I'm thinking about a friend that Chelsea and I have, and I don't know if they want to be named, so I won't say their name, but they they're going to give birth eventually, very soon. And they were talking about anticipating the experience of giving birth as intense and hard and all these things, like will make it intense and hard. Where if you do the good work of like easing in and like expecting the unexpected or just like letting what happens, then the
Yeah.
experience is the experience. It's not good or bad because you're not putting that anticipatory energy on top of it. And I was thinking like, okay, maybe I would, if I knew the Sagittarius moon was coming up, I would get fearful, which is definitely a thing that I deal with as an astrologer
Mhm.
at LinkedIn. Like
Mhm.
anticipatory anxiety, I guess.
Mhm.
And making sure that, like you said, it's discernment, it's energy, it's not good or bad. That feels really important.
It's
Yeah.
not good or bad, and it's building in. And this is not talking about like going on a retreat or doing something extreme. This is like, I know today is going to be challenging. I have my water with me. I know
Yeah.
today is challenging. It's a Leo moon. I'm going to go to bed at 8 p.m. with my kids and skip Netflix or reading or
Yeah.
whatever. Like,
Yeah.
these are little habits that you can build in. It's knowing, and then my grandmother taught me this, and I will never forget this when I had my kids. She's like, honey, even if you don't have time, she's like, put your hand on your face and you just set a timer and you lay down for 10 minutes. And I
Mm.
feel like that gentleness
Yeah.
of you
Mhm.
might be doing 10 million things,
Mhm.
but take some space for yourself. And especially if you notice these, and I will label them more challenging. I won't say bad,
Mhm.
but I will say challenging. Those more challenging moments will need rest.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Chelsea, I'm
Yeah.
curious if anything is coming up for you with your IFS experiences, like how to relate them to
Well, I think
moon.
that I mean, I first just think it's really important, like you mentioned, like both of you mentioned, that the like anticipatory anxiety or fear, like can certainly see that coming up, like for a lot of folks, kind of knowing what could happen on a certain day or with a certain moon, and just building up self energy, right? Higher self energy to navigate whatever it is that you have to do that day or that comes up for you, right? So, love that you have the kind of list of different like quote unquote tools to draw upon, right? And things that are going to nurture you and nourish you. And for Carla, your relationship with cacao too, like being such a potent helper, right? And guide for those moments. So I think, yeah, just having I really think I think just coming back to self energy, right? And knowing that you can be with whatever comes up. Um,
Yeah.
yeah. But as far as like moon, I don't know how that relates. It's so individual. So, how the moon shows up as parts. And maybe, I don't know if Carla has any insights about that or anything that you've learned throughout this process of tracking your internal system and the moon. If you've noticed, and you don't have to speak like, you can speak generally. You don't have to give us like specific examples of things that you've noticed internally, but just, yeah, if that also feels like it shows up as parts of you that maybe show up like like a very specific emotion or a thought or even kind of an extreme belief sometimes or something that maybe even needs to be healed. Mm, yeah.
I mean, Taurus and Leo. I don't have to actually say anything more because
Yeah.
I can notice. And I do have another app that sometimes I will lean into that I'm like, whoa, this is a ridiculously challenging day. And I won't look at it as like it's the astrological weather or it's this moon. I literally will look at it and I'm like, it's called a line 27. I can share it.
Ooh.
There's like yellow days, red days, and green days. And I noticed that my red days, now I have not tracked the moon with this red day situation, but when I notice, and this is from deeply tuning in, that I'm having a really hard time, I'm like, oh, is it a red day?
Uh,
Is it a red day? Do I get to sit and journal and have cacao and be with myself before I start my work day? Maybe.
mhm,
Like this, but this is like deep inner work that I've been doing for years.
mhm.
Years ago, I would have said, this is a terrible thing. I would have had to book a session with somebody. Like there would have had to
Yeah.
been all these things. But now
Right.
I'm leaning into how can I self-source this?
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah.
When you said Leo and Taurus, I don't need to say anything else. Are you saying like those archetypes are like very much okay? Yeah.
They're very challenging for me. They're very like Taurus is my Chiron,
Oh, yeah.
wounded healer, so challenging.
Yeah.
And Leo is my Black Moon Lilith. And it's just those two particular signs really bring up, and actually, I'm grateful for them because they bring up the bottom
Yeah.
of like, okay, well, we thought that shipwreck was down there, but it sure
Yeah.
wasn't. And
Yeah.
there's healing to do, or there's things to see, or there's a tough conversation to have. Um,
Mm,
that's what I'm talking about.
mhm,
Yes.
mhm,
That
mhm,
I very much resonate with that. There are some archetypes, zodiacal archetypes who are like, yeah, this is
mhm,
what I need to work with right now. The good and the bad. And they're usually like really very much working together and fighting the good and the
Yep.
bad, like
mm.
the yin and the yang of that sign. So that makes a lot of sense to me for sure.
Yeah, my Chiron's in the 10th in wait, isn't Taurus as well, right, KB?
Yeah.
I
And
have to look
Taurus.
to you.
Yeah.
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 Well, now I'm gonna pay more attention to that. I'm curious to track that more and see.
Yeah. And it's important. Like, I think the moon does so much work because the moon is moving and transferring information from planet to planet to planet to planet. So
Mm,
wherever the moon is passing over your natal whatever, Chiron or Black Moon Lilith, the moon is facilitating a conversation or trading information there in some way or another. So that makes a lot of sense that the activation would be like, okay, we're focusing on this right now. And then
mhm,
maybe in a day we're going to be connecting it to another thing that's another planet somewhere.
mm.
And specifically today, the moon just entered Aries when 7 other planets, maybe 6 other planets are in Aries.
It's
So the
7.
moon, is it 7?
Yeah, until
Okay.
Friday.
Wow. So the moon is like, okay, what's happening here? Like trying to like absorb everything so that everyone is heard and understood before moving
Mm.
on to Taurus. Yeah.
Uh,
There's a lot happening right now.
I want to thank you both for having me.
Yeah. Before we jump off, do you want to give us like how to connect with you? What's like the best way to find you, work with you, connect with you?
mhm.
Best way to find me, Substack, Nourishing Creativity.
Yeah.
And all of my information is on Nourishing Creativity, including my podcast where I interview creatives and entrepreneurs about their creative process. And from there, you can find all of my social links, and I will create a code for your community so that they can download the Moon Guide.
Thank you. That's
Thank you.
amazing.
That's so nice. Yeah.
Thank you.
This is so inspiring. Like, I am so jazzed up about the moon just from hearing all of your experiences. Like, I'm sold. I'm sold
Thank
on
you.
using the moon to help me and living by the moon. Yeah. So this was so helpful.
Yeah.
And
Thank
also,
you
I
so
think
much.
all the folks at NASA, if you could just, if you're listening to this, could you please, I think Carla needs to go to the moon. I think she needs to be like in its orbit. Like it would be so powerful. If you could make that happen, that'd be great.
Thank you. Thank you, NASA.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks in advance. Thank you so much, Carla, for jumping on.
Yeah.
We love you. We're excited about everything that you do.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Yay.
Okay, I'm good.
Thank you for joining us for Parts and Charts, the IFS and Astrology podcast. If something sparked insight or resonated with you, we'd love to hear from you.
No, really, we're here to make friends. Reach out to us. Leave a comment, subscribe, and if you feel called, share this episode with someone you care about. Or, if you want to work with us one-on-one and go deeper with this work, check the link in the show notes for how to find us.
Until next time, may all of you feel a part of the family.